This road sign means A. Do not enter. B. No parking. C. No U-turn. C. No U-turn. This sign prohibits drivers from making a U-turn. You cannot turn around to go in the opposite direction at an intersection where this sign is posted. This road sign means A. Bicycle crossing. B. Stop only if other cars are approaching. C. Yield the right-of-way to pedestrians. A. Bicycle crossing. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. These signs alert drivers to areas where bicycles may be crossing. Sudden wind gusts on highways. A. Generally affect only the movement of large vehicles. B. Only cause visibility problems. C. Can cause problems for all vehicles. C. Can cause problems for all vehicles. While it can create special problems for large vehicles, strong wind can cause problems for all drivers. Wind can lower visibility by blowing dirt and dust into the roadway, but it can sometimes also physically move a vehicle. Which of these statements is true about driving and taking medications? A. Most cold medications can make a person drowsy. B. Over-the-counter medications cannot impair driving ability if taken in the recommended dosages. C. Medications are safe to take at any time, if prescribed by a doctor. A. Most cold medications can make a person drowsy. Remember that all medications, prescription or over-the-counter, are potentially dangerous and could impair your driving. Over-the-counter medicines that you take for colds and allergies can make you drowsy and affect your driving ability. It is your responsibility to know how your medication affects your ability to drive.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
This sign indicates A. The distance from road surface to a bridge or overpass. B. The maximum legal height of a vehicle allowed in this state. C. The maximum width of a vehicle allowed on the highway. A. The distance from road surface to a bridge or overpass. This is a low clearance warning sign. It indicates the distance from the road surface to the bottom of a bridge or overpass, in this case, 12 feet, 6 inches. You hit a parked vehicle and can't find the owner. What must you do? A. Call your insurance company when you get home. B. Wait for the owner to return. C. Leave a note with your name and address on the parked vehicle. C. Leave a note with your name and address on the parked vehicle. If you hit a parked vehicle or other property, you must leave a note with your name, phone number, and address securely attached to the vehicle or property that you hit. This sign means A. No U-turn. B. No left turn. C. No right turn. C. No right turn. Where this sign is posted, it is prohibited to make a right turn. It would be unsafe and unlawful to make a right turn at an intersection with this sign. If you are driving on a highway next to a single broken white line marking, A. You cannot cross the line to pass. B. You may cross the line to pass and change lanes. C. You may only cross the line to change lanes if you are in the left lane. B. You may cross the line to pass and change lanes. White lines separate lanes of traffic moving in the same direction. You may cross a dashed white line to pass or change lanes if it is safe to do so. When approaching a yield sign, you should first A. Check for cross traffic. B. Increase your speed. C. Come to a complete stop. A. Check for cross traffic. Check for cross traffic when approaching a yield sign. If there is cross traffic, you may need to come to a complete stop to wait for traffic to pass before merging onto the roadway. This sign means A. Stop sign ahead. B. Side road. C. Railroad warning. A. Stop sign ahead. This sign indicates that a stop sign is ahead. This road sign means A. The roadway ends ahead. B. Drivers must bear either right or left. C. A four-way intersection is ahead. B. Drivers must bear either right or left. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that they are arriving upon a fork in the road and they must bear either right or left. When involved in a collision, you should A. Move the injured as far away from the road as possible. B. Avoid moving the injured unless it is absolutely necessary. C. Insist the injured are fine without immediate medical attention. B. Avoid moving the injured unless it is absolutely necessary. It is dangerous to move injured persons. Avoid moving the injured unless it is absolutely necessary to remove them from areas threatened by fire or other dangers common to crash scenes. Keep the injured lying or sitting down until competent medical aid arrives. If an officer is directing traffic at a working traffic light, drivers should A. Follow the directions indicated by the traffic light. B. Follow the directions given by the officer. C. Honk at the officer. B. Follow the directions given by the officer. Traffic signals are placed at intersections to keep traffic moving and to prevent crashes. Drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists must obey these signals unless an officer is otherwise directing traffic. When you see this black and yellow sign, it means A. The road to the right is for one-way traffic only. B. There is a detour to the right due to road construction. C. The road ahead changes direction at an extreme angle. C. The road ahead changes direction at an extreme angle. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. They alert you to conditions that are immediately ahead. This sign tells drivers to slow down and prepare for an abrupt change in direction at an extreme angle. Unless otherwise posted, the speed limit on secondary highways is A. 55 miles per hour. B. 60 miles per hour. C. 70 miles per hour. C. 70 miles per hour. The statewide speed limit on secondary highways is 70 miles per hour. If a different speed limit is posted, you should follow the posted limit. When a school bus is stopped on the road ahead to load or unload children, you must A. Come to a complete stop until all the children have left the bus. B. Come to a complete stop until the red lights stop flashing and the stop arm is withdrawn. C. Change lanes, drive slowly, and pass the bus cautiously. B. Come to a complete stop until the red lights stop flashing and the stop arm is withdrawn. When a school bus is stopped on the road ahead with its lights flashing and its stop arm extended, you must come to a complete stop and wait to proceed until the lights have stopped flashing and the stop arm is withdrawn. Even after the bus begins to move again, do not proceed until you are sure there are no children crossing the road ahead of you. A steady red arrow displayed on a traffic light means: A. Drivers cannot turn in the indicated direction. B. Drivers may turn in the indicated direction after coming to a complete stop. C. Drivers may turn in the indicated direction. A. Drivers cannot turn in the indicated direction. If a traffic signal is displaying a steady red arrow, traffic in the indicated lane may not proceed in the direction shown by the arrow. Drivers must come to a full stop and wait for a green signal to proceed. Slowing down just to look at collisions or anything else out of the ordinary. A. Causes traffic congestion. B. Prevents rear-end collisions. C. Improves traffic flow by preventing collisions. A. Causes traffic congestion. Avoid rubbernecking, or slowing down to look at collisions or anything else out of the ordinary. This helps to relieve traffic congestion. There is no crosswalk and you see a pedestrian crossing your lane ahead. You should: A. Make eye contact with and then pass the pedestrian. B. Slow down as you pass the pedestrian. C. Stop and let the pedestrian finish crossing the street. C. Stop and let the pedestrian finish crossing the street. At an intersection where traffic is not controlled by traffic signal lights, drivers are required to yield the right-of-way to pedestrians within any crosswalk, marked or unmarked. Even if there is no crosswalk, yield to the pedestrian. Broken yellow lines are used on streets and highways to: A. Indicate no passing zones. B. Separate lanes of traffic moving in the same direction. C. Separate lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions. C. Separate lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions. Yellow lines separate traffic moving in opposite directions. Dashed lines on the pavement indicate that passing is permitted when safe. When entering traffic after being parked at a curb, you: A. Should drive more slowly than other traffic for 200 feet. B. Should wait for a large enough gap to get up to the speed of traffic. C. Should wait for the first two vehicles to pass, then drive into the lane. B. Should wait for a large enough gap to get up to the speed of traffic. Any time that you merge into city or highway traffic, you should wait for a gap in traffic large enough for your vehicle to get up to the speed of other traffic. Blue traffic signs offer information on: A. Motorist services. B. Construction and maintenance. C. Mileage information, such as distances to specific locations. A. Motorist services. Blue signs on the roadway are service signs. They are used to provide information about motorist services, such as upcoming rest areas, food options, or nearby hospitals. If you experience a tire blowout: A. Tap or pump the brakes. B. Slow down gradually and use your brakes lightly. C. Apply the brakes firmly and quickly. B. Slow down gradually and use your brakes lightly. If you experience a tire blowout, you should slow down gradually by taking your foot off of the accelerator. Don't apply the brakes until the vehicle has slowed considerably. You must yield the right of way to an emergency vehicle that is using its siren and flashing lights by A. Driving as closely to the right edge of the road as possible and stopping. B. Moving into the right lane and driving slowly until it has passed. C. Stopping immediately, even if you are within an intersection. A. Driving as closely to the right edge of the road as possible and stopping. You must yield the right of way to any emergency vehicle that is using its siren and flashing lights. Do this by driving to the right edge of the road and stopping, taking care not to stop in an intersection. You may move again after the emergency vehicle has passed. If you are driving and the rear end of your car starts skidding to the left, you should A. Steer to the right. B. Steer to the left. C. Tap your brakes lightly and shift into neutral. B. Steer to the left. If your vehicle enters a skid, you should take your foot off of the brake and steer in the direction that you want to go. For example, if the rear of your vehicle is skidding to the left, you should steer to the left. This will help bring the front of the vehicle in line with the rear, thereby straightening out the vehicle's overall direction. When you are behind a motorcycle, you should A. Be ready to use your horn. B. Drive more slowly. C. Allow a larger following distance. C. Allow a larger following distance. When following a motorcyclist, allow for at least a 3 to 4 second following distance. Motorcycles can stop quickly and following them too closely endangers your life and that of the motorcyclist. If the motorcyclist should fall, you need extra distance to avoid the rider. The chances of a fall are greatest on wet and icy roads, gravel roads, and metal surfaces such as bridges, gratings, and streetcar or railroad tracks. This symbol is used for A. Dangerous intersections. B. Slow-moving vehicles. C. Yield signs. B. Slow-moving vehicles. A reflective orange triangle on the rear of a vehicle means it travels only at slow speeds. You may see this sign on roadwork equipment, farm vehicles, or horse-drawn wagons and carriages. It appears as a solid orange triangle during the day and a hollow red triangle at night. Only fill in the blank can reduce blood alcohol content, BAC, and alcohol's effects on the body. A. Drinking caffeine. B. Eating foods high in fat. C. Time. C. Time. Only the passage of time can remove alcohol and its impairing effects from the body. To turn left from a multi-lane one-way street onto a one-way street, you should start your turn from A. Any lane as long as it is safe. B. The lane closest to the left curb. C. The lane in the center of the road. B. The lane closest to the left curb. When turning left from a one-way street onto another one-way street, you should begin the turn from the far left lane. At a crosswalk, A. You must yield to pedestrians. B. Pedestrians must yield to you. C. Construction workers must yield to you. A. You must yield to pedestrians. Pedestrians have the right of way at street crossings but must obey traffic control signals. Where a traffic signal is not present, vehicles must stop for pedestrians in a crosswalk, whether it is marked or unmarked. When driving behind another vehicle at night, you should A. Keep your headlights on the low beam setting. B. Use your high beam headlights until you are within 10 feet of the vehicle ahead. C. Use your high beam headlights. A. Keep your headlights on the low beam setting. Use high beam headlights only when driving in rural areas and when other cars are not nearby. Lower your headlights to their low beam setting when you are following closely behind another driver. When turning left at an intersection. A. You should always yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. B. Oncoming traffic and pedestrians should yield to you. C. You should never yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. A. You should always yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. When turning left at an intersection, yield the right of way to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. Once the intersection is clear and applicable signals allow, you may complete the turn. Unless otherwise posted, the speed limit in residential areas is A. 20 miles per hour. B. 30 miles per hour. C. 45 miles per hour. B. 30 miles per hour. The statewide speed limit in residential areas is 30 miles per hour. If a different speed limit is posted, you should follow the posted limit. Double solid yellow lane markings mean that A. Neither lane may pass. B. Both lanes may pass. C. The lane to the right may pass. A. Neither lane may pass. Yellow lane markings indicate a separation of lanes where traffic is traveling in opposite directions. When you see double solid yellow lane markings, passing is prohibited from both directions. When parking next to a curb, you should use your turn signals. A. Only when pulling away from the curb. B. When pulling next to, but not away from, the curb. C. When pulling next to or away from the curb. C. When pulling next to or away from the curb. Drivers should signal when pulling next to a curb or away from a curb. This sign means A. Crossroad ahead. B. Merge. C. Stop. A. Crossroad ahead. This sign indicates that there is a crossroad ahead. If you find that the roadway ahead of you is flooded, you should A. Slam on the brakes. B. Not drive through the flooded area. Turn around and find another route. C. Drive only in the center of the roadway. B. Not drive through the flooded area. Turn around and find another route. Never attempt to drive on a flooded road. Even if the water looks shallow, it may hide many kinds of hazards. If you encounter a flooded area, turn around and seek another route to your destination. You can drive off the road to pass another vehicle. A. If the vehicle ahead is turning left. B. If there are 2 or more lanes traveling in your direction. C. Under no circumstances. C. Under no circumstances. You may never drive off the paved or main traveled portion of the road and onto the shoulder to pass another vehicle. It is very foggy. You should slow down and A. Turn on your emergency flashers. B. Turn your lights to their high beam setting. C. Turn your lights to their low beam setting. C. Turn your lights to their low beam setting. Use your low beams when driving in fog, snow, rain, or mist. Light from high beams will reflect off of precipitation, causing a glare and making it even more difficult to see. Some vehicles are equipped with fog lights that should be used in addition to low beam headlights. When being passed by another vehicle. A. Brake hard. B. Maintain a constant speed. C. Speed up. B. Maintain a constant speed. When being passed, you must yield to the passing vehicle and not increase your speed. Allow the vehicle to safely merge back into your lane. At intersections with a yield sign, you must A. Yield the right-of-way to cross traffic that is near enough to cause conflict. B. Yield the right-of-way only to vehicles on your right. C. Always slow down and proceed without stopping. A. Yield the right-of-way to cross traffic that is near enough to cause conflict. At a yield sign, you must slow down or stop, if necessary, and give the right-of-way to crossing or merging vehicles. Yield the right-of-way to any cross traffic that is close enough to cause conflict. This road sign means A. Do not enter. B. Roundabout ahead. C. No U-turns. C. No U-turns. Regulatory signs provide notice to road users of traffic laws that must be obeyed. This sign tells drivers that it is prohibited to make a U-turn. When you see this sign, you A. Are approaching a railroad crossing and should prepare to stop. B. Will always stop at the upcoming railroad crossing. C. Should stop and wait for a signal before crossing the railroad tracks. A. Are approaching a railroad crossing and should prepare to stop. This sign indicates that you are approaching a railroad crossing. You must look, listen, slow down, and prepare to stop. Wait for any trains to pass before you proceed. When passing on the left of a vehicle, it is safe to move back into the right lane. A. After about 3 seconds. B. When you can no longer see the vehicle over your right shoulder. C. When you can see the front of the vehicle in your rearview mirror. C. When you can see the front of the vehicle in your rearview mirror. When passing another vehicle on its left, you may move back into the right lane when the headlights of the passed vehicle can be seen in your rearview mirror. Always signal before changing lanes. Increase your following distance when driving behind a large vehicle. A. To better see around the sides of the vehicle. B. Because other drivers tend to pull behind large vehicles before trying to pass them. C. Because following too closely will get you caught in the vehicle's slipstream. A. To better see around the sides of the vehicle. Drivers of trucks, buses, vans, and any vehicles pulling campers or trailers may not be able to see you if you are driving directly behind them. Increase your following distance when driving behind one of these vehicles. Additionally, Large vehicles can block your view of the road, so increase your following distance to look around the sides of the vehicle and see the road ahead. When driving in a construction zone. A. Slightly increase your speed. B. Expect the unexpected. C. Expect construction workers to yield to motorists. B. Expect the unexpected. You may encounter unexpected conditions in a construction zone. For the safety of yourself, other drivers, and construction workers, drive with extraordinary caution. If you are driving and a tire suddenly goes flat, you should A. Rapidly pump the brake pedal several times. B. Slow down gradually and not brake. C. Press down on the brake pedal as hard as you can. B. Slow down gradually and not brake. If a tire blows out or suddenly goes flat while you are driving, grip the steering wheel firmly and keep the vehicle aiming straight. Take your foot off the accelerator and do not brake. Allow the vehicle to slow by itself and use the brakes gently, but only if necessary. Pull off the road when it is safe to do so. The first thing that alcohol affects is A. Vision. B. Judgment. C. Balance. B. Judgment. Alcohol reduces all of the important abilities you need to drive safely. Alcohol goes from your stomach to your blood, then from your blood to all other parts of your body. Alcohol affects the areas of your brain that control judgment and skill. Stopping distances and severity of crashes. A. Decrease as vehicle speed increases. B. Are not affected by vehicle speed. C. Increase as vehicle speed increases. C. Increase as vehicle speed increases. Stopping distances are longer and crashes are more severe when traffic travels at higher speeds. A sign with this shape means A. Railroad crossing. B. Warning. C. Signal ahead. B. Warning. A diamond-shaped yellow sign warns of possible danger ahead. Orange signs, which are mostly diamond-shaped, are used to warn of possible dangers in or near work areas.